CSI, Changing Species Investigation. Characteristics of whole populations can shift over time. Our goal in this lesson is to analyze and interpret data to determine if natural selection is occurring in the example. What does it take for natural selection to happen? Number 1, there has to be a population. Number 2, there has to be a heritable trait variation that is different in different individuals in the population. Number 3, the trait difference has to affect the chance of an individual reproducing. CSI, Changing Species Investigation. Insecticide-resistant bedbugs. This file contains real data about bedbug populations. Is there evidence of natural selection? You are on the case. Species profile. Bedbugs are blood-sucking insects. They hide in bedding and furniture during the day and sneak out to feed at night. A bedbug bite causes an itchy rash. Bedbugs were a problem until the 1950s. Then a strong insecticide was invented, and they mostly disappeared. For a long time, "Sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite" was nothing more than a children's rhyme. Now, bedbugs are back. The insecticide that nearly killed them off isn't used anymore because it's bad for the environment. New, safer insecticides worked at first, but as they're used more, they don't work as well. The ability of a bedbug to survive insecticide toxins is a trait called insecticide resistance, or IR. Has natural selection changed bedbugs over time? To find out if IR in bedbugs has changed, you'll compare bedbugs that have been exposed to modern insecticide to those that have not. Your research team collects bedbugs from cities in Michigan and Ohio where bedbugs have made a comeback. You also have a lab population that was collected from New Jersey 30 years ago. It has never been exposed to modern insecticides. In your notes, you'll refer to each population by where it came from. Fort Dix, New Jersey, no insecticide exposure. Troy, Michigan, exposed to insecticide. And Cincinnati, Ohio, exposed to insecticide. You applied 1,000 nanograms of insecticide to representatives from each bedbug population, then counted how many bedbugs were killed. Let's analyze your data. First, let's check our natural selection checklist. Did we already talk about one of these things happening? Yes. We are looking at 3 different populations to see how they may have changed over time. So we definitely have a population. We have the data from the number of bedbugs treated and the number killed. We have to find the percent killed. In order to find a percent, we are going to take the number killed divided by the number treated and calculate that percent. 60 divided by 60, and then we times it by 100 to get the percent, is 100%. 100% were killed. In Troy, 16 of the bedbugs were killed out of 60, and then we times that by 100 to get our percentage. We're going to round that to 27% of the bedbugs were killed. In Cincinnati, 17 of the bedbugs were killed out of 60 that were treated, and timesing that by 100 to get the percent, we got 28%. In Fort Dix, the bedbug population with no past insecticide exposure, 100% of those bedbugs were killed when we treated them with insecticide. In Troy, this is a population that has had past exposure, 27% were killed when they were treated with the insecticide. In Cincinnati, a population that also had been exposed to the insecticide, 28% were killed when they were treated with the insecticide. Let's summarize the evidence that we've just seen. The IR trait is at lower or higher in exposed bedbugs compared to non-exposed bedbugs. Well, we can see here the Fort Dix bedbugs have not been exposed to the insecticide, so when they were treated with it now, 100% of them died. They had no resistance, no IR trait. All of them died. These ones, however, most of them lived. Only a few of them died, which means they had very high resistance. They had a lot of IR trait in their population. Evidence suggests the IR trait has become more common, less common, or stayed the same. Well, remember, the Fort Dix population represents what the genes would have been 30 years ago. Because this population has been in the lab for 30 years, it hasn't had anything happen that has been going on in the wild. So yeah, they look very different from the 30 years ago population to the now modern populations. This IR trait has definitely become more common over time. Does the evidence suggest the IR trait in bedbug populations changed over time from insecticide use? I can see that it definitely has changed, so I'm going to say a solid yes. Okay, back to our natural selection checklist. So we've already established we have populations. Did we determine if one of the traits was heritable? Or did we determine if their trait differences affected their chance of reproducing? Yes, we noticed that the IR trait definitely affects their chance of being able to survive to reproduce. So that's 2 out of the 3 of our natural selection checklist. Now let's decide if this trait, the IR trait, of resistance to insecticide is heritable. We're going to see if we can pinpoint what gene this might have come from. Insects with IR often have proteins that can quickly break down the insecticide before it has toxic effects. Proteins are coded for by genes which pass from parents to their offspring, so proteins are heritable. We want to find out if protein differences are causing the IR trait in the bedbugs. So here is what we have done. From each bedbug population, we collect 2 proteins, the EST and the GST. Then we test each protein's ability to break down the insecticide. To do that, we test how much of the insecticide the protein can break down in 1 minute. So, proteins from the Fort Dix population in 1 minute, they didn't break down any of the insecticide in either of those protein enzymes, which means this enzyme is not happening in them, probably not being passed down. But if we look at the exposed populations, the Troy and Cincinnati, both of them are having higher amounts of EST and GST breaking down the insecticide. So is this saying that this insecticide is being broken down by a heritable trait? It does look like that protein is what's breaking it down. So if the protein is breaking it down, then that's a heritable trait. So does that finish off our checklist? Yes, we've decided that this is a heritable trait variation. Lastly, is natural selection happening in these bedbugs? The answer to this question is yes. Why? Well, we hit all 3 of our checklists. We have a population of bedbugs. They can interbreed and reproduce. They have a trait that is heritable. It is this protein that breaks down insecticide so that they can survive being sprayed. And lastly, the trait differences definitely affect the chance of them reproducing. If they get hit by the insecticide and they die, they're not going to survive to reproduce. So having that protein, that IR trait, definitely helps them reproduce. So solidly, yes, natural selection is definitely happening in these bedbugs.